guys, welcome back for episode number 120 of the weekly playback. I know I said that there would be no new video this week, and I really thought that there wouldn't be a new video this week, but I went on a small little trip with my family, so I took Thursday and Friday off from work, and we got back yesterday, which was Saturday, and I thought that they'd be around today, which is why I thought I'd be too busy to shoot a video, but my little sister actually flew back to her house today, and so I have time after all, so I thought it would be a good idea to shoot a video, because otherwise next week's video would be like 3 hours long. There would be just way too much to go through. So there's not going to be a book club discussion in this week's video. So because I said that we would talk about the chapters in the fiction book and the one chapter for the nonfiction book in the next video. So those will be in the next video. So no book club discussion in this video. So I only have 2 games to talk about and a couple new arrivals to show, and then maybe some board game news, and yeah, so that's it. So let's just get started. So let's talk about Aqua Garden. Aqua Garden is a 2021 game for 1 to 4 players designed by Tatsuka Chuo, and the art is done by Urabe Rosinante, and it's published by Uchi Bikoya Games. And this is a review copy that I received from Uchi Bikoya. So this is a set collection and rondel type of game. So I actually really enjoyed it. I hope I get to play with the expansion soon. So I played a 2-player game of this, and in a 2-player game you are going to have a 3rd player. It's really easy to manage the 3rd player. They just move along the rondel, and that's basically it. So there's not too much you have to do with the 3rd player. So basically you are going to have this one board, and depending on the number of players, you are going to put a certain number of common fish into this bag, and the common fish are comprised of large fish, small fish, sharks, whale sharks, seahorses, and turtles. And you are going to pull out small fish and put them onto each light blue space. Sorry, not small fish, just whatever is in this bag. You'll pull out one at a time and put them on the light blue spaces around this rondel. This is the turn order track, and this is the round tracker. And then you are going to have a seaboard, and I'll explain how that works. And on the seaboard, you're going to start the game with a bunch of seaweed and coral placed onto this board. There's no number limits on that, but again, how many fish you put into this bag, including sharks and turtles, depends on player count. Then each person is going to have their own aquarium mat. And on this mat, you'll see 2 spots which say events on them. There's this little icon here, and these are little rug spots that you are going to be moving your worker along. And I'll explain how this game works. So you have one worker who's moving along in your aquarium, and then you have one person who's going to be moving along this rondel in order to collect specimen that you want to put into your aquarium. In addition to this, each person is going to have their own personal event card, and you will be resolving that event every time you pass that one icon I showed you on your own personal board. So here are different types of event cards, and I'll explain how you score these and what they mean. And then in addition to that, next to the main board, you're going to have some public goal cards that you will be trying to achieve. And on the public goal cards, you'll see how many points you get if you're the first person to achieve it. And you will also get to collect some special fish if you manage to achieve it. So for example, this goal card, in order to achieve it, you would need 2 large fish, 2 small fish, and 1 seaweed. And if you're the first person to do so, you would put your marker up here and you would get 5 points at the end of the game. But in addition to that, you also get to collect the 1 large special fish and the 1 small special fish and place them into your aquarium immediately. So this is how the game goes. It's one of those games like Patchwork where the person who's farther behind keeps on getting to take their turn. So whoever is farthest behind in this rondel will get to take their turn. So you can move up as many spaces as you want in order to either collect a fish or land on an advertising spot. If you land on an advertising spot, you're going to look at one of these 4 ads and decide what you want to score in your aquarium. So for example, if I decided I wanted to score this advertisement, I would get 1 point for each large fish that is in my entire aquarium, and that includes any tank. And there are special rules about placing fish into your tanks. So let's go over that first. So each tank has a capacity of 4 oxygen. So you can only hold a certain amount of animals aquatic life in each tank, because different aquatic life take up different amounts of oxygen, which you will see at the bottom of your board. So you will see down here how much each type takes up. So you'll see that each tank starts with 4 oxygen, and a small fish removes 1 oxygen, a large fish removes 1 oxygen, a coral removes one oxygen, a seahorse removes 1 oxygen, a sea turtle removes 2 oxygen, a shark removes 2 oxygen, and a whale shark removes 4 oxygen, and a seaweed adds 2 oxygen. So sorry, I hope I didn't misspeak, but that is coral, not seaweed. And before you can add a turtle, you must have a seaweed in the tank already before you can add a turtle. So those are how much each aquatic species takes up in terms of oxygen, or contributes in the case of seaweed. And then you have special placement rules. Like, so for example, let's see, you can't have certain fish with other fish because they will get eaten. So small fish tokens cannot exist in the same water tank as shark tokens. Large fish tokens cannot exist in the same water tank as shark tokens. Sea turtle tokens cannot exist in the same water tank as shark tokens. And as we discussed, you have to have a seaweed first before you can put a sea turtle into a specific tank. And then no more than 1 seaweed token can exist in 1 water tank at the same time. Similarly, no more than 1 coral token can exist in a tank at the same time. So those are the rules you have to follow when you're placing things. So again, you can increase the oxygen capacity of a tank by adding seaweed to it. So seaweed will increase your tank capacity by 2, bringing your total tank capacity for that one specific tank up to 4. So for example, if you wanted to hold a whale shark and, like, say, seahorses together, because whale sharks and seahorses have no restrictions, then you could, if you had a seaweed there, because a whale shark uses up 4 and 1 seahorse uses up 1. So if you had a whale shark, a seaweed, and 2 seahorses, that would be perfectly fine. And from what I could see in the rule, there are no restrictions for sharks and seahorses. So those can exist in the same tank, but sharks cannot exist with any of the other animals. So they can't exist with the small fish, the large fish, or the sea turtles. I did not see whether or not they can exist with whale sharks. There was no indication that they cannot exist together. So again, if you are behind in turn order, you will get to move up however many spaces you want and collect the thing that you landed on. And then you can immediately place it. So on your turn, you can immediately place something, but you can also buy something from the seaboard. So the seaboard will have, like I said, all the coral and seaweed, and each thing you want to buy costs 2 funds. So you start with a certain number of funds on your board. I believe each person starts with 2 funds, and then you can increase your funds by advertising. So if you want to buy something, you can buy something from the seaboard before or after you place your fish token that you just collected. So let's see. Let me see how much each thing costs. I believe each thing just costs 2 coins, 2 funds, if I remember correctly. Purchasing from the seaboard, yes. So you can pay 2 funds to take 1 seaweed token or 1 coral token from the seaboard and immediately place it in either of the water tanks adjacent to your employee token. So yes, so after you move around this board, then you can move up to 3 spaces starting from where you were around your aquarium board. So let's suppose I started here, I can go here, here, or here. And then you can only place the fish token you collected or anything you buy in one of the tanks that you are adjacent to. You cannot just place it anywhere. So again, if you're buying something from the seaboard, you have to also place it in a tank that you're adjacent to. Or you can pay, so you're paying 2 funds for any item from the seaboard. So again, a seaweed token or a coral token. You can also pay 2 funds to take any 1 fish token from the seaboard and immediately place it in either of the water tanks adjacent to your employee token. You can keep on buying as long as there are tokens to buy and you have the space to put them into your tank. If you run out of space, like for example, you run out of oxygen or something, you can remove something from your tank and place it onto the seaboard and then put whatever you want to buy in the tank that you want. Again, it must go adjacent to where you are on your own personal board. So that's what happens if you stop at a light blue space. And you can never stop somewhere where someone else is already present, including advertising spots. So if you stop on an advertising spot, that's when you get to choose one of these things that you want to score. So for example, you could score this if you wanted to. So for every shark and every coral you have in your aquarium, you would get 1 coin. So you would increase your fund tracker in order to increase your funds. So that's how that happens. So again, at a certain point, you might end up passing this event marker, in which case you get to score your personal event card, and each player is going to have their own event card. So the event cards will be scored by what is in your event tanks. So you will get to look, when you pass this event marker, you can look at both event tanks and see if you have these fish in your event tank, and then you will also collect funds for those. You will always get 1 coin, and then you will get 1 coin if you have what's written on your card. So regardless, you will get 1 coin every time you pass the event marker, but you can collect additional coins if you've managed to put the various types of specimen into those event tanks. So you're always just trying to put things in certain places in order to obviously maximize, the oxygen usage and what you collect in terms of funds when you pass the event marker. So that's how advertising works. You just get to choose one of these and see which one you want to collect on. So how does the game end trigger? So the game ends, let me just remember, at the end of the round. So there's going to be 3 rounds in a 2-player game, and I believe in a 3 or 4-player game, it'll be 4 rounds if I remember correctly. So at the end of the game, so for 4 players, it's 4 rounds. For 3 players, it's actually 3 rounds. So when you when you've gone through the track, if you're the first person to go through the track, you would place your player token at the bottommost spot, which would put you at the end of the track, and you would get to go first. But at the end of the game, when you place your token, that's going to give you points. So the first person to finish going around the track will get 3 points, the second person to finish will get 2, and then so on. So you will get points for that as well. So you'll get points for that, and then you'll get points if you manage to achieve one of the public objectives that we talked about. And if you manage to achieve one of those public objectives and you got the special fish, you could immediately place them into any tank in your aquarium, and you would not need to be adjacent to it. And again, you do need to follow the placement rules though. But at the end of the game, you're going to collect your points for these public objective cards that you met. And there's different kinds of public objectives. So there's going to be one for turtles, there's going to be one for seahorses, and there's going to be one for fish, and so on. So yeah. So you'll get points for those, and then you'll collect points for what you have in your aquarium. So this board shows you what you'll get in terms of points. So for example, each small fish and large fish pair. So you want pairs of small fish and large fish in tanks, and each pair will get you 3 points. Each sea turtle will get you 2 points. Each shark will get you 2 points. Each seahorse will get you 2 points. Each whale shark will get you 4 points, and each coral will get you 1 point. And then whoever has the most points, you'll also collect money for points for funds. So for every 3 funds you have left over, you will get 1 point. And then whoever has the most points will win. So yeah. So that is how Aqua Garden is played. So it's just a very easy rondel game in which you're going around this board, collecting fish tokens and putting them into your tanks, and you have to put them in the tanks that you're adjacent to because you'll also be moving around your own aquarium with your worker, and you're going to be advertising and so on. So yeah, and you just have to be mindful of how much oxygen is being used and whether certain species can actually exist together in the same tank. You're trying to achieve public objectives and your own personal objectives. Yeah, so it's just a really nice, easy game to play. I think it's a very family-friendly game, and it's got really beautiful components. So again, these components are really nice, and there are advanced variants that you can play that I did not yet play with, but it also comes with other tokens that you can play with. So let me just show you some of those. Like, it comes with these manta rays, it comes with some other kind of like shark looking tokens and like octopuses and so on, or octopi rather. So yeah, just lots of really cool components. And then each player has their own tokens. So they have their worker that's going to be going around the main board, they have their worker that's going to be going around their aquarium, and then the special tokens you would place if you achieve one of the public objectives, and then your fund tracker to keep track of funds on your own personal board. So yeah, really great game. I hope I can play the advanced variant soon, because that will add the octopus, the manta ray, and the remora, I guess what that other fish is called, tokens to the game. And then there is an expansion which I was also given a review copy of, which has really cool components as well. It has like seashells and stuff in it, so I really hope I can play with that soon as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I have like no complaints about this game. Yeah, so if you are just looking for a nice little easy rondel kind of game with a sea theme, then I would recommend this game. So yeah, so that was Aqua Garden. So yeah, so let's move on. So another game I played recently is Alpaca. Alpaca is a 2023 game for 2 to 4 players, designed by Christian Glove, or is it Giove? Giove it looks like, and the art is done by Stefano Tarotti. Sorry, I can't really read when I have my contacts in. And the publisher is Pegasus Spiel, as well as it looks like Gate on Games. So this is a deck building game with alpacas in it. So you are basically just building up a farm of alpacas. So it comes with this nice little first player marker, which is an alpaca. And then it just has a bunch of different alpaca cards in it. So you are going to start the game with a certain number of baby alpacas and a certain number of fence cards in hand. And then for setup, you are going to go through this deck and decide how many of which different brown alpacas you want in the game and which different white alpacas you want in the game. So there are different kinds. So for example, and they do different things and they're worth different points. So here is one, for example, called the Reveler, and this says this alpaca's ability is the alpaca purchased during this turn goes into your hand instead of the discards, and this would give you 3 coins to spend if you use it for money instead. So there's just different kinds of alpacas. There's these twins, and their ability is if we are behind your fence, we count as 2 alpacas and occupy a whole fence. So just different kinds of alpacas with different abilities. There are some which are like take that alpacas, which you can use against your opponents if you place them in an opponent's fence. Just various kinds of alpacas. And in every game you are going to have a snob. So the snobs, let me find them. Here are the snobs, and the snobs are a way to basically trash alpacas from your hand. So in order to get a snob from the market, it's going to basically just cost you 2 alpacas, which you'll trash from your hand, and then you'll be able to pick up the snob. They do not have any value though, so they, will not they won't be put behind your fences, and they won't give you points. It's just a good way to trash cards from your hand. So I played a 2-player game of this, and in 2 players, you are going to again have a various number of brown alpacas in the market and white alpacas, and you start the game with certain fence cards in hands and certain baby alpacas in hand. So you're going to start the game with, let me just know exactly how many. So you start the game with 4 fence cards in hand and 6 puppy cards. So let me just show you some puppy cards so you can see what those look like. So here is a puppy. A puppy is basically just worth 1 point, and it's going to give you 1 coin to spend. And fences are not going to give you any money to spend. A fence you're going to play when you actually want to build a fence and place an alpaca behind it. So this is a fence card, and you will like literally take a fence and put it down and then place an alpaca behind it. You cannot play a fence card if you do not have an alpaca to place behind a fence. So if you already have 1 fence placed with 1 alpaca behind it, and that fence has room for 1 more because the alpaca behind it takes up only 1 spot, then you cannot place down a new fence. You first have to fill up the 1 fence entirely before you can place down a new one. And the game end will be triggered once someone has completed their 4th fence. So you're going to have a different number of cards. So you're going to have the snobs, which I mentioned. You're going to have 6 different types of brown alpacas, 4 different types of white alpacas, 1 stack of nobles, and I'll show you what the nobles are. So those are just worth straight up 12 points. So you need to spend 12 coins in order to get a noble to add to one of your fences. because they don't give you coins, so you don't want to keep them in hand and like try to use them in any way. And 1 snob card stack, and I already explained what snobs are. And you're going to leave a space for puppy cards, which you are hopefully going to be trashing from your hand if you're able to get snobs into your hand. So each stack is going to consist of 4 identical cards. Unless you're playing a quicker game, you can remove 1 card from each stack, which is what we did. So basically, you're going to be going around and around, and on your turn, you're going to be playing cards to maybe buy something from the market or put down a fence, and place an alpaca into your farm, and you can also play an alpaca to activate its ability. So you can do as much as you're able to, so in terms of activating its abilities. So you can activate as many alpacas as you want to, that's unlimited, but you can only purchase 1 alpaca on your turn, and you can only place 1 alpaca in your farm on your turn, so that's a maximum. And you can do these in any order, so you can activate your alpacas, buy an alpaca, and farm an alpaca in any order on your turn. So each alpaca is going to have not each one, but like some of them are going to have passive abilities, some of them are going to have active abilities, and some might have both. I'm not sure if there are any that have both, for example. Oh, actually, here's one that has both. So the Noisemaker has both a passive ability and an active ability. So active abilities are in the light blue. So this one says, place me behind any free fence. So you can place it behind any free fence, and you want to do this in an opponent's fence. And if you're using it for purchasability, it would just be worth 3 coins. The passive ability is, if I am behind your fence, the alpaca with me is worth 0 points. So let's suppose someone placed a noble into their fence behind a fence. You would want to place this next to the noble, because now the noble, which is normally worth 12 points, would be worth 0 points. So each alpaca will have an ability, either passive, active, or both. And so when you're playing an alpaca on your turn, you're playing it for its active ability. Passive abilities are ongoing, and they are activated once they're behind a fence in your farm. So you're going to continue in this fashion until the end of the game is triggered. Once a player has completely filled their 4th fence, the final phase begins, and you play until everyone's had the same number of turns, and then you're going to count up your points, and then whoever has the most points will win. So again, you're going to have a maximum of 4 fences, and with a maximum of 2 alpacas per fence. And again, some alpacas might take up 2 spaces, like the twins. So that's essentially the game. It's just a deck building game. At the end of your turn, you're just going to discard all the cards from your hand into the discard pile, and then draw back up. If you ever need to draw back up and there aren't enough cards in your draw pile, then of course you shuffle your discards and form a new draw deck, and any alpacas you buy, unless you have a special ability that allows that alpaca to go straight to your hand, it's going to go to your discard pile. So basically like a basic deck building game. So it's essentially a very simple deck building game with alpacas with different kinds of abilities, and there is going to be variability because there are different kinds of stacks that you can choose from and make each game a little bit different. So it's not like the most exciting game, but it is a cute little filler game. Like if you're just like, so after playing Aqua Garden the other night, me and my friend were like, okay, what can we play that's kind of quick and that won't require too much brain power? So we played Alpaca. So it's just a nice little game to play and just pass some time. It's not like the best deck builder that exists. It's just, but it's cute. It's just got cute little alpacas in it and stuff like that. Do I think it'll stay in my collection? Maybe for a little bit. Like I'll see if, my friend ever wants to play it again at the end of a game night or something like that. But I do think it's a pretty easy game to learn. It's like a family-friendly game. So maybe it'll stay in my collection for a little bit until I get like sick of it. It's not the most exciting game. It's not the most innovative game. There's really nothing new or groundbreaking about it. It's just a straight up deck builder game with alpacas. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, then you could check it out. I purchased this game. It was not a review copy. So that was Alpaca. So let's move on. So let's talk about games I'm backing and games that I have received. So the campaign for So You've Been Cursed ended. So I kept my pledge for that. I forgot to mention it in the last video. So that ended. So I'm currently not backing anything, but I did reach out to the designer and publisher of Epistocracy. I am always pronouncing that word wrong. So Epistocracy, I think is how it's pronounced, which is like a Victorian it takes place during Victorian England, and so one of my favorite time periods. It's a worker placement game with really cool, unique artwork. So I reached out to the designer to see if she could credit my pledge manager with a review copy, because I had backed it at the pledge manager level just to see if that would be possible. So the backing that I did at the pledge manager level was $5, and then she credited my account for just the base game, not shipping. So and then I added on an expansion. So in the end, I ended up paying like close to $50 myself, but I still saved $50. So like half of it is basically a review copy, and then half of it is something that I paid for myself. So I will be getting hopefully a copy of Epistocracy. I always say epistocracy. I always say no, okay, now I can't even pronounce how I mispronounced it before. Epistocracy is how you pronounce it. How was I pronouncing it? That was incorrect. Anyway, it doesn't matter now. So yeah, so that will hopefully be coming someday in the future. So yeah, so I just thought I would mention that. So let me just show you some games that came in recently. So I had requested a review copy of Ezra and Nehemiah. Sorry, I know I'm totally gonna butcher that name as well. So that came in. I was kind of expecting it to be like the same size of the Scholars series, the South Tigris series rather, but it's not. It's one of the smaller boxes that's the same size as like the West Kingdom trilogy or the other trilogies. And I kind of wish that the South Tigris trilogy had been this size as well. I really like the small box size. They're cute. So yeah, but anyway, the South Tigris trilogy is a bigger box, of course. So this came in. And this has to do with Jewish history in the Middle East. So it says, in his first year as king of Persia, Cyrus the Great issued a decree in writing to the Israelite exiles living under his rule. The God of heaven has given me all the kingdoms of the earth and has appointed me to build a temple for him in Jerusalem. Any of his people may go up to Jerusalem in Judah to build the temple of the Lord, the God of Israel. And in any place where survivors may now be living, the people of Persia are to provide them with silver, gold, goods, livestock, and offerings for the temple of God in Jerusalem. Sorry, that was really weird. Ezra 1:2-4, paraphrased. And then it says, decades later, in the 20th century of Artaxerxes' reign, the king noticed a sadness in his cupbearer, Nehemiah. I don't know how that's pronounced. One asked why he looked so ill. Nehemiah replied, "May the king live forever. Why should I not look sad when the city of my ancestors lies in ruins and its gates have been destroyed by fire? If it pleases you and if I have found favor in your sight, let me go to the city in Judah where my ancestors are buried so that I may rebuild it." Nehemiah 2:3-5, paraphrased. So in this game, it says the aim is to be the player with the most victory points. Points are gained primarily by building the temple, rebuilding the city walls and gates, and by teaching the Torah to the returning exiles. You may seek to develop your land, travel to settlements outside the city walls, or stoke the altar's fire to keep it burning day and night. The prophets Haggai and Zechariah will be doing their part to keep the people focused on what is most important. So this is going to take place over 3 weeks rounds. And and then after 6 days of work, there will be a Sabbath day of rest, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So you might be wondering why, as a Muslim person, I would be interested in this game. So just a fun fact, I don't know if it's a fun fact and maybe everyone already knows it, but of course we as Muslims believe that our faith was like the continuation of the monotheistic faiths from before, because of course as Muslims we believe people strayed from the straight path. I know you probably don't want a history lesson or a religion lesson about what Muslims believe in. So I do consider Jewish history to be a part of Islamic history, because it is, and we have a lot of the same prophets. We consider ourselves to believe in the same God, and we just believe our religion to be a continuation of the faiths from before and the revelations from before, which and again, Muslims believe that the previous people, including the Jews and Christians, went astray and went astray from the teachings of God and so on and blah blah blah. So Zechariah is actually a prophet in Islam as well, and so a lot of the figures that come up in Jewish and Christian history come up in Islamic history. So fun fact, like Jesus is mentioned more in the Quran, our holy book, than Muhammad is, who we consider to be the last prophet. And Mary is very highly respected in Islam and is considered what we call one of the 4 women of heaven. the other women we consider of heaven, one of them would be the Pharaoh's wife who helped to save Moses. So yeah, so we have a lot of respect and reverence for the prophets who came before Muhammad and for all of the religious figures. So I do take a great a great interest in Jewish history because I also consider it to be Islamic history in that sense. So now I will show you the components of the game after having gone through all of that. So each person is going to have a player board, and they are dual layered, which is really nice. These boards are very nice. This I think is part of like the main board, like it's a market or something like that. There's one of those. And then we have the main board. Not super big, which is nice, but yeah, just really love the aesthetic. So that looks very cool, very Middle Eastern. And then there's just a bunch of different components and stuff, so I will show those to you, but let me just show you some of the punch boards. So in terms of weight, I don't know what the weight of this game is like compared to the Scholar series, because I would consider Inventors of the South Tigris to be the heaviest Garfield games that I've personally played. So I wonder how this compares to the Scholar series. That would be interesting to learn. So I hope I will get to play this soon. So yeah, so those are some of the punch boards, and then I'll just show you some of the wooden components. So each person, so it looks like it uses the same player colors as the Scholars series. Why do I keep on calling it the Scholar series? The South Tigris series. It uses the same player colors, it looks like. And then there's just a bunch of cubes, which I imagine represents different resources. And then I'll just show you some of the cards, which I need to cut open. So luckily I have some scissors here. Actually, I'll show you these scissors because they're really cool. I actually just picked them up in Montreal at a yarn store. So I went to Montreal for 2 nights with my family, and my sister is really into knitting. So we went into a yarn store and I saw this pair of rose gold scissors, and I'm obsessed with rose gold, and it's like in the shape of a bird. So I just had to have them. So yeah. So here are the cards. Some of the cards rather. So those are the fronts of the cards, and then the back of the cards. So it looks like there's different levels of people that you might be acquiring. Yeah, so those are some of the cards. And then there's some tiny ones in here. Actually, these look like they might be player cards. So these look like they belong to individual players. And maybe some solo level cards or something like that. Yeah. So those are those. So yeah, so that is Ezra and Nehemiah, however you pronounce that. And it does come with a bag as well. So I imagine you're going to be putting some tokens and stuff in there. So that is a new arrival. And again, that is a review copy that I received from Garfield Games. Sorry, I just moved the camera. So let me just show you another new arrival. So another review copy I received is Rolling Realms Redux from Stonemaier Games. So I got the email to see if I wanted a review copy, and this was one that I didn't have from them, so I selected this. I have played Rolling Realms before, a long time ago, not this version, but some other version, but I think it's pretty cool how they have like cards from different existing board games. So in this one, it looks like the different games that exist in this one are dice. Well, let me just see if there's a beginning and an end. Okay, so realm by realm explanation. So we have A Feast for Odin, which I've never played. Apiary, have played that. Architects of the West Kingdom, have played. Ark Nova, have played. Do not like. Atiwa, have not played. Between Two Castles, have played. Yes, Between Two Cities, have not played yet. Biddy and Walter, oh, those are his cats. Aw, that's so cute. That's really, really cute. So looking forward to that. Boone Lake, have not played. Brass Birmingham, have played. Can't Stop, have not played. Charterstone, have not played. Crusaders, have not played. Dice Throne, have played. Dinosaur Island, have played. Dog Park, have played. Eminent Domain, have not played. Euphoria, have played many, many years ago. Expedition, have not played. Flamecraft, Craft have played, Fleet the Dice Game have played, Genotype have, which I'm really hoping to get played soon. Gulgong have not played, Hokkaido have not played, Honeybuzz have played, Legacy of You have not played, Libertalia have played and love, Lost Ruins of Arnak have played, Meadow have played and love, Micro Dojo have not played, Millennium Blades have not played, Mini Golf have not played, Momiji have not played, My Little Scythe have played, Obsession have played, On-Rim have not played, Parks have played, Pendulum have not played, Planet Unknown have played, Poker have played, Potion Explosion have played, Praga Kaput Rajni have played, Rock Paper Scissors have played, Role Player have played, Rolling Realms have played, Scythe have played, Skoventer have not played, Skull Hollow have not played, Sleeping Gods have not played, Smitten have not played, Space Base have played, Spaceship have not played, Stamp Swap, oh, that's supposed to be a new game that's coming out, I believe, have not played. Tapestry, have I played Tapestry? No, I have not. Have not played. Terra Mystica have played. Terraforming Mars have played. The Guild of Merchant Explorers have played. The Isle of Cats have played. The Society have not played. Tidal Blades have not played. Tricarian have played. Underwater Cities have played. Viticulture have played. Wingspan have played. Wonderland's War have played, and then Rimspan or Wormspan have played. So it looks like that those are the cards that come in this game, I think. So it comes with something called the RRR Ball Tournament, whatever that is. It looks like some kind of, I don't know what that is. I'm not even going to go into that. Some kind of score sheet. Two really big dice. Oh wow, these dice are cool. They're like purple and blue. Oh wow. These are cool dice. I like those. These, I love the color. Those are nice. It comes with a bunch of different markers. And what's in here? So it looks like these are some of the tournament cards that I mentioned that I have no idea about, but I don't know. I don't know what this is. It's just like a bunch of different cards that say Rolling Realms on them in different colors. Maybe that's just to indicate your player color or something. I don't know. It comes with a wiping thing, so you can wipe the cards, I guess. And it comes with a tuck box, so I just stuck all of the cards in the tuck box. And then there are like a gazillion different cards of all the different games I mentioned. So for example, like, oh, actually, I think I have to show you this side. So you can just see the different kinds of cards and the different things you'll be marking off. So you'll be marking off these cards from what I can remember from having played Rolling Realms once many, many years ago. Well, no, not many years ago. It was last year. Never mind. It was last year. I played it last year. so yes. So just different kinds of cards that you'll be marking off. So it is a roll and write game, but I do not remember too much about it. But I just think it's cool that, like, you know, he reached out to different publishers and has like different cards with different board game themes on them, which I think is pretty cool. So, you know, of course I would want to play with the ones that I'm familiar with and the ones that I like. So yeah, so that is pretty cool. So I think that that'll be a nice little quick game to play. So it's for 1 to 6 players, and it says it plays in 30 minutes. And it's designed by Jamie Stegmaier and Carol Teteka, and the art is done by Marius Petrescu. So yeah, so this was another review copy that came in. And then finally, I'll show you a copy of a game that came in that I had covered for its Kickstarter, and I received my production copy of it, and that is Wondrous Creatures. And I was really, really looking forward to getting this game because I absolutely loved it. And to me, it felt like kind of like an Everdell killer, to be honest. Like, I was like, you know, this game is going to be easier to set up, more accessible, I think, than Everdell. Like, I have the all-in Everdell, which I bought myself. I bought the big box with every single expansion, every single upgrade, everything. And it's just really overwhelming just looking at it and thinking about even setting it up. So, you know, if I want to play something that's like Everdell, I think I could just play this instead because it comes in a smaller box. So here is the rule book. So yeah, so, you know, just show you some of the punch out tokens. And if you want to know how this plays, you can go back to my overview video, which I did for this game, which was of course sponsored. On the main board, which is double-sided, because depending on player count, you'll have one side or the other. Okay. And it comes with this nice little bag. It's really pretty. a bunch of different cards. So let me open up some of these cards to show you. And I have the All-In Deluxe Edition. So these cards will be getting sleeved because I have sleeves. So yeah, so you'll see in the corners there's like different kinds of icons and stuff, so that, you know, there's set collection going on in this game. You're going to be trying to achieve objectives. You're going to be building up your tableau and building up the powers that you have. So there's 2 more decks of cards. I won't show those to you because there's a lot to show you. A bunch of different components. You're going to have creatures that will be moving around on the main board, and you'll be collecting things. So it's also a worker placement game, and you can vary which worker you want to play with, because you'll be slotting these into your player board, and that will determine which workers you have. And it looks like these were double-sided actually, so I don't know, actually. A lot of these are the same on the back side, so I don't know if that's like some solo mode kind of thing. I don't really know how that works. But you're going to take one of these workers and stick it in here. And that will be your worker kind, your person, and then, you know, you'll have stuff that you'll be keeping track of. And this is dual layered, which is really nice because you're going to be keeping track of your resources and stuff. So let me just show you the different player boards for the different player colors. So you've got red, yellow, white, and blue. Yes, so that is like the base thing, like the deluxe version, I guess. And then I'm going to show you some of the additional deluxe stuff that, you know, came with my copy of the game. So here we have the upgraded components. So instead of the cardboard cutouts for the eggs and all the other stuff, you're going to have these wooden components. And for the trophies that you're collecting, they are metal, and they are super duper nice. So like a bunch of these metal trophies, which are just so nice. Like that is quite the upgrade. So yeah. I still think there's anything else in that box. Yep, so those are the upgraded components. And then we have, so yeah, it shows you on the back, like what's exactly being upgraded. And then we have the Gargantuan Beasts, which I guess is an expansion of powerful Gargantuan Beasts. So yeah, just some extra beasts and stuff. So let's see. So, and then it comes with some extra cards. I just really, really love the artwork in this game. It's just really, really beautiful. So it has that, a little rule book for the expansion, and then some other characters you can play as, which is pretty cool. So that is the Gargantuan Beasts expansion. And now let's see the last thing, which is the crew set, the Kickstarter crew set. So this, what does this do? This is the expansion. This expansion features brand new crew and crew cards. Get ready for a thrilling experience as each crew card boasts its own unique one-time ability. Okay, so new crew that you can play as, and again, it comes with its own little rule book and some cards here. And it's nice that it has a different colored back so that you'll be able to distinguish what goes with what. So you won't get all your cards mixed up. So that is really, really nice. I appreciate that very much. I like being able to distinguish cards, like expansion cards from the base game, so that I don't get everything like super duper mixed up. And then it just has a bunch of different cool components. Like that looks kind of like a funky snail, which is very cool. Ooh, this looks like a cross between like a lion and like a snow leopard or something. I don't know, very cool. So yeah, it just comes with some new cool creatures to use. So that is all of Wondrous Creatures, including all of, you know, the expansions. And again, it comes with sleeves. So I will be spending time to sleeve all of the cards and then hopefully get it played soon. But I have a lot coming up that I need to cover for Kickstarters and stuff. Well, not a lot, but a lot for me. So, because I don't cover as many games as other content creators, but I have a number coming up soon that I need to cover. So I don't know when I'll get this played again, but hopefully soon because I really, really liked it. So yeah, so those are the new arrivals. So let's move on. So I guess we can talk about some board game drama. This industry loves its drama, of course. So I noticed in one of the Facebook groups I'm in, it's UK games trading or something like that. It's been actually posted in a few different groups, and I've seen people mention it on Twitter and stuff. So there is a publisher who I've actually talked about before. Very nice guy, this designer. I actually played his game at UK Games this past May, and really loved his game. It was called the Forgeries of MC Reber or something like that. The Strange Forgeries of MC Reber, if I remember correctly. That's the title of the game. I talked about it in my UK Games Expo video if you want to go learn how that game plays. So I demoed his game, played a full game of it, met the designer, really liked him, really liked the game. Really nice guy. So he made a post on Board Game Geek about a bad experience he had with a content creator. So apparently he, just to make a long story short, because his post is very long, basically he has sent a prototype of his game, the full game, but a pre-production copy to this content creator named Simon Lavender for him to create content. And Simon in return, sent him this media kit that included these really, big prices for content. And if you look at Simon's channel, which is called Amass Games, he just doesn't have the viewership or the subscribership to really warrant these exorbitant prices that he is charging for content. And, I really don't want to talk ill of someone who I genuinely think may have mental health issues that he needs to get looked into, that he needs to get treatment for. So I genuinely, based on my own interactions with Simon, which I'll get into a little bit, believe that he could use some professional help. And there's no shame in seeking professional help, and I wish that he would, because I genuinely think that he could use it. And I've talked at length before about having gone to therapy and how it helped me. I think cognitive behavioral therapy is really beneficial, and I think everyone can benefit from it, whether or not you suffer from severe mental health issues or you just have a few personal problems in your own life. I think, therapy is beneficial to everyone. So I do think Simon is someone who could benefit from maybe professional help and medication of some kind. So basically he, had this pre-production copy of this game, the Strange Forgeries of MC Reber, and he wanted to charge a lot of money for it. He and the designer could not come to an agreement. So he asked the content creator back, he wanted his game to be returned to him, and he was even willing to pay for shipping. And Simon was like, no, I'm not going to send it to you. People let me keep their games and they let me sell them, blah, 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 and whatever. So if you want to see the post, it's a very long post, and there's hundreds of comments by now on that thread if you want to see it. I could not add my 2 cents there because, as I mentioned a couple months ago, a few weeks ago, I don't remember how long it's been now, but I got banned from Board Game Geek for being anti-Zionist and pointing out who the Nazis of today are in this industry in several videos. So I got banned from Board Game Geek. So I cannot comment, I cannot purchase anything from Board Game Geek. I literally cannot do anything except just add games to my collection, and that's all I can do. I cannot do anything else on Board Game Geek since I was banned for being anti-Zionist. So I could not add my 2 cents, which is why I'm talking about it here. So my personal experience with Simon is this. So last year at UKGE, which is UKGE 2023, he came up to me, had no clue who he was. He said hi, and I said hi. And then I think he casually mentioned that, oh, we should collaborate together. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. I said sure just to be nice because I didn't know who he was, had absolutely no idea who he was when he came up to me. And I was standing with another content creator at the time, actually having a chat with him. So then Simon left. Again, no idea who this guy is. He just came up to me and said hi, knew my name, so I said hi. And then when I got home from UKGE, he added me as a friend on Facebook and then reached out to me. And that's when I realized, okay, so the person who came up to me at UK Games Expo, his name is Simon Lavender, and he talked about wanting to collaborate. So again, I said sure, but I was like, we can talk about what collaboration means. We never even had any discussions about it. So in my mind, again, usually when you collaborate with someone, you are going to talk to them about what this collaboration means. Does collaboration mean one video? Does it mean, just doing a photo together? Collaboration can mean any number of things. So without even talking to me about what this would mean, without me even having a chance to look at his channel, he messages me saying that he has emailed hundreds of publishers to tell them that we are going to be working together going forward. I was horrified. Like, I was just really upset that he had gone ahead and emailed hundreds of publishers, according to him, to tell them that we would be working together. So I said to him, I was like, that's improper. Like, you shouldn't have done that. Like, we didn't even talk about what collaboration would even look like. And now you've gone ahead and emailed hundreds of publishers to tell them that we're going to be working together. And I was like, no, that's improper. And so it was really hard to reason with him, like just going back and forth in messages. Like, he just could not understand why that was wrong. He could not understand why, without having had one single discussion of what a possible collaboration could even look like, it was improper for him to email hundreds of publishers to say that we would be working together. And then he would message me and he'd be like, oh, these publishers are waiting, they want to see what we're going to do together, and blah 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 blah. And again, I was like, listen, we don't even we haven't had a single discussion about what collaboration could look like, and now I finally had a chance to take a look at your channel, and to be honest, I don't foresee a collaboration between us. Like, at the time you asked, I said yes to be nice. It was a possibility, maybe, but now having looked at your channel and seeing the kinds of videos you post, like, I don't think a collaboration is possible. Like, he does these like really quick like unboxings, he does these really quick like how to play videos, like totally not my style. I can't even foresee what a collaboration could possibly have looked like in this case, which I told him, and he was upset about it. And I said, well, I'm upset that you emailed hundreds of publishers without even having a discussion with me. Like, that is just not how business is done. That is not how collaboration is done. And he just was not understanding why it was wrong. And then finally I said, listen, when you approached me at UKGE, I didn't know who you were. Like, I said yes to be nice, and maybe that was my mistake, but I honestly did not think that you would go and email hundreds of publishers without discussing a single thing with me. Like, that is just plain wrong. It's not how things are done. And after I said that, he didn't respond and he unfriended me, which, great. Like, so that, ended that problem there for me. But, unfortunately, the damage had already been done at this point. So who knows if he emailed any publishers like he said he did, how many hundreds of publishers he emailed like he said he did. Who the hell knows? Like, I have no proof of anything. I don't know. All I have are the messages in which he told me that he emailed hundreds of publishers, which was very upsetting. And it could have affected my business as far as I know. Like, maybe the reason when I reach out to publishers asking them for a review copy and they say no, or just completely ignore me, it could be for that reason. Like, who the heck knows? Like, I have no way of verifying anything, or, just there's no way for me to know who he emailed, and I'm not going to email hundreds of publishers and be like, hey, sorry if this guy named Simon emailed you, we're not working together, blah blah blah. Like, I'm not going to waste my time doing that. I literally do not have the time to do that. So yeah, so damage was done. So that was my personal experience with Simon. So if you happen to, if you want to read this thread, I'll leave a link below. It is insanely long, but there's just always some kind of drama popping up in this industry, and this is just the latest drama. So yeah, so if you're interested in checking it out, you can. I do hope that Simon gets the help he needs, because I, from having seen some of his content, from seeing the things he posts, from seeing how he talks about himself and his channel, I do think that maybe he could use some kind of help, because I think that maybe, yeah, I'm not gonna make diagnoses here on video, but just from my experience, having worked with a lot of people who have mental health issues when I was a housing attorney, I've worked with people who suffer from schizophrenia. I've worked with people who have delusions. I've worked with all kinds of people. I've worked with people who are paranoid. I've worked with all kinds of people, because let me just tell you, mental health and housing goes hand in hand. So if countries want to solve the housing crisis, they really need to have mental health in place, like mental health services in place for people, because a lot of people who become homeless do have mental health issues, and that is just a fact. So I have worked with a lot of people with mental health issues, and I just hope that Simon is able to get the help that he needs. It's unfortunate that people are dogpiling on him, as someone who has been dogpiled on, and unjustly, I feel. It's not fun to be dogpiled on, and whether that's unjustly or justly, either way, I'm pretty sure it's awful. So yeah, it just really, really sucks for him. So I hope he returns the game to Gerardo, who again is a very nice guy. I played his game MC, the Strange Forgeries of MC Reaver at UKGE this last UKGE. Had a really great time playing it. Exchanged emails with the designer. He seems like a fantastic guy. I'm planning on meeting him at Essen. Just really had a good time. So I hope that he can get his game back and that will be the end of that. So yeah, so that is just an update on some board game drama, I guess. So let's move on. So speaking of conventions, I honestly cannot believe like a month from now, like 4 weeks from now, I will be in Copenhagen. So I think I mentioned in my last video that before I go to Essen, I'm just gonna go to Copenhagen for like 3 or 4 nights, something like that. I think I'm there for 2 full days. So that is very exciting. So again, if you are in Copenhagen, let me know. Maybe we can meet up and play a game, or we can go check out some site together or something like that. So that would be very cool. Also, when I was with my family in Montreal the last couple of days, we were talking about what trip we might want to take together in the future. So we have decided that we are finally going to make one of our biggest dreams come true. So my family and I are going to go to Iraq in March of 2025. So it has been a dream of mine to go to Iraq for many years, especially when I was more religious, when I was younger, back in my university days. So as a Shia Muslim, it's very important for me to visit Karbala and Najaf. So I'm hopefully going to make that dream come true in March, which also means I will not be going to UKGE because my vacation is prorated. And also, if I'm going to be spending a crap ton of money going to Iraq, I'm not really going to be able to go to UKGE just like 2 months later. I won't have enough vacation time saved up then. So yeah, so UKGE next year will not be happening. So yeah, so you know, I'm a little bit sad that I won't get to go to London, which I go to every year, which I absolutely love. I'm just a bit obsessed with London. But really looking forward to going to Iraq. And of course, I will post photos and share those with you guys. So if you have any Iraq themed board games that you think I should check out before I go, then leave the names in the comments below, because that would be really cool to play some board games about Iraq, Baghdad, or any other place in Iraq. I'm guessing that if there are any board games about Iraq, they probably have to do with Baghdad. I don't think there's going to be any games about Karbala or Najaf or any of the other cities. So as a Shia Muslim, it's important for me to go to Karbala because that is where our Imam Hussein was martyred, and it was basically him and a small band of like 70 some people against a huge army, and they were brutally massacred. But we as Shia Muslims believe that Islam would not have survived had it not been for this massacre that happened. So actually, just a fun fact, the largest religious pilgrimage that happens every year happens in Karbala, Iraq. It does not happen in Mecca. It does not happen for Hajj. It is actually for commemorating this massacre. It is for commemorating the sacrifice that Hussein made to save Islam. So the largest religious pilgrimage that happens anywhere in the world happens in Karbala, Iraq, if you are interested in learning about it. And that pilgrimage is called Arba'in. So we are not going for Arba'in because that would just be really stressful. We'd be surrounded by millions of people, and we just, so my mom doesn't want to deal with that. So we are just going to visit Imam Hussein's shrine separately from Muharram and commemorating the sacrifice. And then we're also going to visit Imam Ali's shrine in Najaf. So those are really important for us as Shia Muslims. So I will be going to Iraq, and maybe, I know I make promises all the time, which I fail to fulfill, but this time I'm really going to try. So this time I thought I would try vlogging my experience in Essen this year, and then hopefully that will prepare me to vlog about my trip to Baghdad. So I think my brother-in-law might go with us. And fun fact, my brother-in-law is actually a vlogger. So I've actually never really been interested in watching people's vlogs, to be honest. Like, I just don't understand the appeal. I guess the appeal would be is if you watch a content creator and they actually respond to your comments and you feel like you are actually friends in a sense, and they actually interact with you, then maybe I could see the appeal. But if I'm like, just posting comments on someone's channel and they're not even responding to me ever, like, I would just feel like, why am I, wasting my time, like, helping this person earn money from YouTube when they don't even care about me in return. So that's the way I would feel. But anyway, my brother-in-law, he is a vlogger on YouTube, and he has over 70,000 subscribers, which is a shit ton of subscribers. So he actually does get recognized. by people of his own ethnicity and stuff like that. So he is from Pakistan, and like all of the subscribers, well, not all of them, but the vast majority of them are from Pakistan and Pakistanis in America. So so he is a big vlogger, so maybe I can get some tips from him about vlogging and try to vlog my experience in Essen and then my experience in Baghdad. But yeah, I would really love to tie Baghdad into board gaming somehow if possible. So if you know of any board games that have to do with Baghdad, leave them in the comments below, like bonus points if they're very portable and I can even take them with me and take photos, you know, of them in Baghdad. Like that would just be super, super cool. So yeah, so Essen is going to happen this year, but then next year, UKGE probably not happening because I won't have enough vacation time saved up to go to UKGE after going to Baghdad, after going to Iraq in March, and then Essen next year, we'll see. So I really have to make the most of Essen this year, since I know I will not be going to UKGE next year, but it's going to be worth it. I think it'll be worth it. Like how many people get to go to Iraq, right? Like I'm very fortunate to be able to go there. So yeah, so it's going to be worth it. But yeah, so I have to make the most of Essen this year. So if there are games you think that I should check out at Essen, please leave those in the comments below. And I still need to do my video of which games I'm most looking forward to checking out at Essen. So I'm planning on doing that before I leave as well. But in the meantime, if you think that there are any games that I should be on the lookout for, please leave those names in the comments below. So before I end this convention update, someone recently asked me what is FlagCon. So I've talked about FlagCon at length before, but FlagCon is a convention that I helped to organize, which takes place in the Finger Lakes region of New York. So FlagCon is the Finger Lakes area convention, which takes place in Ithaca. So we are having our second annual convention, which is going to be held the second weekend of November, and it is going to be amazing. It is in the new convention center in downtown Ithaca. It's going to be 3 full days of gaming. So please, please, please book your tickets. You will have a chance to meet me. We can play games together when I'm not working. So yeah, so it'll be super fun. And Ithaca is just a really fantastic city. So yeah, so definitely buy your tickets for FlagCon if you haven't done that yet. And FlagCon again takes place in Ithaca, and Ithaca is absolutely stunning in the fall, in the autumn time. So please book your tickets, come hang out with me and play games with me. Okay, so that is the end of the convention update. So let's move on. So as I said, there would be no book club discussion in this video because I was not planning on shooting a video this week. So, and I'm not ready because I haven't read the next chapter of the 100 Years War in Palestine, and I haven't read the short stories that I said I would read for the fiction book yet. But I do just want to give a quick Palestine update and, you know, just talk about how this industry is still dead silent. And you know, with all of the election talk that's happening, it's just really, really, really disappointing to see that genocide is not the red line for so many people. Like, I don't want to get into politics, and if you want to vote for Kamala, that's fine. But people like me who are not voting for her should not get shit on by other people, because genocide is the red line for us. And in our view, if you show the Democratic Party that you still support them while they are fully in support of a genocide, which Kamala has made abundantly clear that she is fully in support of this genocide. She has stated time and time again that she will not stop shipments of weapons to Israel. She will not reduce the funding. She will not do an arms embargo. Like, she will continue to fund Israel. She will continue to send weapons to Israel. She will defend Israel's right to defend itself, which is not what Israel is doing. It's committing a genocide. This is not self-defense. But yeah, so she's made it abundantly clear that she doesn't give a shit that a genocide is going on. So you should not be shitting on people for whom genocide is the red line. Like, in our view, if you are telling the Democratic Party, like, hey, we'll still vote for you even though you're funding a genocide, what is that telling them? That's telling them they can basically get away with anything that they want, and it's perfectly fine because they're not at risk of losing votes. I understand that who they're up against is not a person that we want to see in office, right? You know, he's not going to be great for politics in America. He's not going to be great for personal rights in America, and so on. But my conscience will not allow me to vote for someone who is perfectly fine with genocide. Like, I simply cannot do that. So I know Jill Stein is not on the ballot in New York, but I plan on writing her name in. So that's what I'm doing. So, you know, so I'm just really disappointed at seeing people like Eric Lang, like, make tweets like this, which I think are just really stupid. I'm just really disappointed with the things that people in this industry who claim to care about human rights are doing and saying. yeah, it just goes to show that Arab lives and Muslim lives just do not matter. I guarantee you that if it were Black Americans who were being like systematically genocided right now, like systematically killed like by the thousands right now, and it was the Democratic Party who was funding it, I'm pretty sure that these people would be like, no, we're not supporting the Democratic Party now. But because, you know, it's Arabs across the world who to these people have no faces, have no names, they, you know, have no care for these people, no empathy for these people, they don't care. Like, it's okay for people to then vote for someone who is very open about supporting a genocide. It's just really incredibly disappointing, and I cannot in good conscience vote for someone like that. So again, just super disappointed. And like I mentioned earlier in the board game drama section, I was banned from Board Game Geek for being vocally anti-Zionist, which Board Game Geek sees as being an attack on others. Yet if people were claiming that someone was Nazi, and they would not get banned for that. Like, I can guarantee you that if someone had mentioned in a video that, oh, this person is a Nazi, and then provided evidence of it, that they probably would not get banned for that. But Zionists are the Nazis of today, and I get banned for pointing out who is a Zionist in this industry and who accepts blood money. So yes, so you have Zionists in this industry, like Kids Table Board Gaming and Burnt Island Games, and then you have people in this industry like Our Family Plays Games who accepts that blood money from those Zionist publishers, and I get called out for that and I get banned for that. And I get banned for pointing out people's hypocrisy in this industry. And like I said before, it's just me up against everyone. It feels like it's just a very lonely place to be. But at least at the end of the night, I can go to sleep with a clear conscience. I can go to sleep knowing that I have integrity and that I am not a sellout, that I am not a Zionist shill, and that, yeah, I can sleep peacefully at night, peacefully as much as I can sleep, because it's hard to sleep peacefully when you know that there's a genocide happening across the world and there's like not much you can do about it except for donating money, raising awareness, and so on. So when I say sleep peacefully at night, you know what I mean. So I guess that's that. There's really not much else to say. So yeah, still just disappointing. We'll see what happens at Asin. I don't think I should get kicked out because, you know, I intend on wearing these bracelets, but that does not show the entire map of Palestine in the shape of a watermelon, which they wrongly considered to be a genocidal statement, which is complete bullshit. So I do not think I should be kicked out for wearing these things, but we shall see what happens. But yeah, so just still disappointed as always. So please, if you are watching, please encourage your fellow board gamers to give a shit about what's happening in this world and what's happening to Palestinians. It's still ongoing. It's been 11 months and soon it'll be 1 year, which is just really unbelievable. Or rather, it is believable, I guess. Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's just so much news I see every day that I feel like I want to share with you guys, and now I can't remember what it is, but horrible, horrible, horrible things are happening every single day, and Israel just gets away with it. So please do not support modern day colonialism. Please stand up against modern day colonialism. Standing up against modern day colonialism and apartheid is more important than boycotting games with those themes which are educational in nature. Like, that just makes no fucking sense. Like, let's get our priorities straight. So yeah, I hope you will encourage people to do the same. So that is my short update on Palestine. So let's move on. So that brings us to the end of the video and the question of the week. So I want to know, what is your favorite ocean themed game? So in the last video, I mentioned that I would be calling, what is it called? Aqua, or what's that game called that I said I would be calling? Aqua, yes, just Aqua from the Op Games, which is like a tiling game, kind of similar to, oh my god, I'm drawing a blank now. Acropolis, kind of similar to Acropolis, but it's ocean themed, right? So it's got cool ocean artwork, and I decided that I did not need to keep it because I have other ocean themed games, and now I've played one that I actually like as well and will plan on keeping. So I played Aqua Garden, and I plan on keeping this because it's got really cool components. Yeah, so I feel like the components are really cool, and it's a good game. It's a rondel game. It's a set collection game. Yeah, so let me know what your favorite ocean themed game is in the comments below, and until next week, bye.
you.